All right, so here's a list of all the goals I have for 2026. I used to think goal setting was cliche and honestly kind of corny, but last year was the first year that I set goals on an annual basis, and I didn't realize how much power it actually has. We all have goals and stuff in our head and things that we want to accomplish, but for me, writing it down on a piece of paper and signing that piece of paper and hanging it up on the wall is really just like a daily reminder, and for me it holds me way more accountable. Whereas if I keep them in my head, I start to negotiate them a little bit with myself, start to rethink. But putting them on a piece of paper and signing that paper for me is a way to hold myself accountable, not self-negotiate when things start to get hard, and keep a clear vision of everything that I set out to do. It also helps me plan. So these are the goals that I have for the whole year. What I like to do is take these goals and then I'll cut them down by quarter. So every 3 months, I'll look to accomplish a piece of each one of these things. And then by the end of all 4 quarters, it should add up to equal the annual amount. So we will jump right into it. All right, so my first goal is to compete in 2 Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu tournaments. I've been training non-consistently, but I've been training for about 2 years now. Again, not consistently, I've taken like months off at a time. And this was actually one of my goals in 2025, to compete in one of them. I did not complete it. It was one of the only goals I didn't complete from 2025. I kind of got into like a high rocks loop, obviously did New York and then needed my redemption. So I did another one in September, and then I was kind of dealing with a little bit of injuries. And then on top of all the weightlifting that I do, I just was struggling to find time to consistently train jiu-jitsu to the amount that I would feel comfortable entering a competition. So first thing that I'm gonna do this year is knock out at least one of these before I do anything else training wise, anything else fitness wise. I'm going to be doing one of these. So I already have my eye on one in April. It's a local tournament. It's nothing crazy. I work at an MMA gym now. I'm a strength coach, so always around it. I think every guy and really every person should know a martial art just to learn how to defend themselves. I think it's really important to be able to protect yourself. Every man should be capable. You don't need to be an aggressive person, but you should be capable of defending yourself. So the first thing I'm gonna do this year, training-wise, fitness-wise, is gonna be a jiu-jitsu tournament, and I'm looking at April right now. So by the end of the year, I wanna compete in 2 of these. I could see it being more, but at least 2 is the goal. All right, goal 2, read 15 books. Like this one a lot. My goal last year was 10, I ended up reading 11. And honestly, I slacked off towards the end of the year a little bit because I knew I was on pace and I was gonna hit 10. I definitely could have gotten 12 in, but I got 11, whatever. I really like to read before I go to bed. It keeps me off of my phone. It helps me shut my mind off, and no joke, I will fall asleep within 15 minutes, maybe even 10 minutes sometimes of picking up the book. There's something about it that makes me tired. I think it's literally taking my brain outside of my normal day-to-day activities, whatever's going on in my life, little stress things. It takes my mind off of all of that. And if you find a good book, it's really interesting, and you'll probably want to push past the fatigue to read a little more. But anyways, I think it's a really good thing. If you would have told me 5 years ago that I would be an advocate for reading, I would have told you no way. I was the kid in school that never wanted to read, Spark Notes everything, probably steal someone else's homework, but I see the power of it now. There's so much information in books, and there's something different about reading it. I'm a hardcover guy. I don't like my phone, iPad, or Kindle just because I want to stay off of technology at this time before I'm about to go to bed. There's so much powerful information in books, so many things that we can learn. So this has been a very powerful thing for me. I actually just finished my first book of this year. So reading 15 books by the end of the year is a goal, and I'm excited about this one. If you have a book recommendation, drop it down below. Constantly looking for new things to read. Whatever it is, if you have a recommendation, let me know. I'm down to check it out. Number 3, dunk a basketball. A lot of people think that this is funny, but I think what they're really missing is, okay, I was a Division I athlete. You would probably assume that I could probably do this pretty easy. I'm 6'1.5", 6'2". You would probably assume that I could clear this pretty easily, but I was the type of athlete where I was very coordinated and not necessarily fast and able to jump high. So I got away with a lot of things just by hand-eye coordination. There was a point in time where I was able to dunk right when my football career ended, so around 2021. So I was 23 at this time. I wasn't necessarily training a lot of power or explosiveness, but when my football career ended, I definitely leaned into the gym and I got a lot stronger. So my legs were definitely pretty strong at this point, and I was still considerably lean. I would assume I was around 210 at this point. I don't exactly remember, but being 230 now, I'm definitely stronger, but I have not been training explosive power stuff for a while. I just started, I would say, in the past 6 months, and I've really honed into it. Being a strength and conditioning coach at an MMA gym back at my high school has definitely made it eye-opening to me that I really got away from training a lot of athletic movements. And the nature of the fact is you don't get unathletic as you get older. You get unathletic because you stop training athletically. So it's been really great to retrain athletically over the past 6 months. So one of my goals is to dunk a basketball. I'm 232 right now. I would like to be able to do this over 220. For all I know, I could be able to do it right now. I haven't tried in a while. I don't think I can, but I might be able to. Anyways, by the end of the year, I want to be able to dunk a basketball considerably. It's kind of a funny one, but the main basis here is to get back to being athletic. Doing athletic things and not just saying, okay, because I have a desk job and I'm not necessarily a Division I athlete anymore, I'm not an athlete. We become unathletic because we stop doing athletic things. So if you train to be an athlete, you will be athletic. I'll be documenting this as well, as far as the temps and what I'm doing for training. So definitely look out for that. I think it's interesting. But dunking a basketball, that's number 3. All right, number 4, upload 1 YouTube video per week. Technically, I already broke this one because I didn't upload a video last week. That is completely my fault. I'm procrastinating this because it's honestly probably the most uncomfortable one. But I have a plan going forward on how I'm gonna fix this. So I know it doesn't work this way, but this week I will upload 2 videos, and then from there on I will upload 1 video a week. And my biggest thing with this is I need to map out how I'm gonna do this. So at the beginning of every month, I need to list out what video I'm gonna make and post each week. So what I need to do is not wait until Sunday to film it. That's what I have been doing for kind of previous YouTube videos. So what I need to do is figure out at the beginning of the month what I'm gonna make content-wise each week, and then ideally by Thursday, the latest, I have that filmed. And then if I edit on Saturday and Sunday, I'm okay with that as long as it's posted by Sunday. But this one sounds stupid. I've been a consumer on YouTube since 2017, from what I can remember, like consistently just following fitness people, trying to learn. And it never dawned to me that I could possibly be somebody that other people would watch. I never really thought it was interesting, but over the years, I kind of realized that that is just self-doubt. I don't know why I thought that way. I wish I started back then, because who knows what it could look like now. Anyways, the best time to start is 5 years ago. The second best is right now. So starting to make own content. I've said this before, if it doesn't go anywhere, like that's cool. I think it's gonna be cool for me 10 years from now just to look back and be like, damn, what was my life like? And then who knows, if I have kids, or hopefully when I have kids, they can see how I'm kind of documenting my whole life, and hopefully that's interesting to them. So 1 YouTube video a week. I screwed this up already, but I have a plan going forward, and that's what is important. Okay, number 5, attend 1 wellness retreat. I did this in 2025. Honestly, I was pretty scared to. I'm a pretty shy person, but I'm so glad I did, because that was the first time I really realized that I was around such like-minded people that just don't go out 3 days a week, consistently drinking, doing whatever. These were people that really prioritize health and fitness, whether it's lifting, running, whatever it is, yoga. So it was really awesome to be around so many like-minded people. I think there was like 30 or 40 people there. Shout out Vitalizer. They're out of Hoboken, but they had a retreat in Windham, New York, which is like, I think 2 hours from me. I don't even remember, but it was completely awesome. Maybe that's the one I'll do again, or maybe I'll travel to do one a little further. Anyways, I think it's a really good idea. It's being around like-minded people, kind of building a network in the fitness community, which is big for me, because working in a corporate setting for longer than I have been in the fitness space, it was very cool. And I think it's really important to network and build those relationships in this space. This is a space that I want to make a career out of long term. I want to see myself in it over the next 30 years. So I think that this is an important one. Also one that people probably think is corny, but like I don't really care. I think that it's very important to be around like-minded people. Your community is everything, and you are a reflection of who you spend your time with. Number 6, complete another health or fitness certification. So I actually have 2 right now. I have the CSCS, which is Certified Strength and Conditioning Specialist. It's kind of the gold standard. It's nationally accredited by the NCAA. So I could go work on the staff for a sports team. Really like that one. This is by NSCA. And then I actually have another one by the Functional Range Conditioning. That is Mobility Specialist. I really should put a plaque right here. I actually think I'm going to do that. So that is one that I took in New York. That was a 3-day seminar. Really good information from there. And again, I actually was around like-minded people. I did some networking there, which was great. So I would like to have another one. I don't know which one I'm going to do for sure. I'd like to do them in person. Again, it's kind of like another networking opportunity. Maybe I'll do a nutrition one. So I know PN1 is kind of a common one that people do, Premium Nutrition Coach or something like that. So that's what I'm going to look into. But my goal is to complete another one of these. I have 2 right now. The goal is to stay sharp. The goal is to stay learning. I never want to feel like I learn everything. I think certifications, do they matter all that much? Like, yes and no. I know plenty of people that have a top level of education and they're really not that smart. And then I know a ton of people who have really no or a low level education and like not clinically certified, and they're geniuses. So it looks good on paper sometimes, but it really only goes so far. So with that being said, you can get a certification and then it's really just about applying it. So that's what I think is really important. So what I've learned from the CSCS and what I've learned from the mobility specialist, I like to think I build into everything that I do with the athletes that I work with. Really just having another one, keeping the sword sharp. I think it's just good for personal growth. All right, number 7, audit personal finances every month. And then this one comes with 3 parts. So the first part is to invest 15% of every paycheck. Every time I get paid, 15% of that needs to be invested. Number 2, never outspend myself in a month. This one's pretty simple. Live by your means and do not outlive your means. Pretty hard to do. So close to New York City. I feel like every time I literally leave my apartment door, it's somewhere near $100. Just don't outspend yourself in a month. Sounds so simple, and it really is so simple, but it's harder than you think. And then I have a monetary goal of adding X amount of dollars in revenue year over year. So in my bank account, I want to see a number jump from the end of 2025 to the end of 2026. Not going to give that number, but I do have a number goal in mind. This stems from a video that I saw of Kevin O'Leary. So I'm sure you know Kevin O'Leary. He's on Shark Tank. If you don't know, he was on the Diary of a CEO podcast with that British dude. I forget his name, but such an eye-opening podcast for me. I'll link it down below. Really made me rethink my personal finances. You know, I've ignored them for so many years just thinking I was fine. And you don't realize like the stupid amount of money that you blow away on just like little things. So really eye-opening for me. I won't talk too much about it. I'll link it below. I think it's like an hour and a half, but these are the 3 things that are going along with my personal finances and how I'm gonna change, all about creating long-term wealth. He had a quote that wealth creation requires discipline, and it's as simple as being able to say no when the opportunity to buy something comes forward. Really interesting thought here. When I hear the word discipline, something rings in my head because I think of myself as a disciplined person. So I'm like, okay, I can do that. Really taking a close look on my finances for this whole year, and I'm doing it on a month-to-month basis in an Excel sheet. And then taking it to the next step to invest 15% of every paycheck, never outspending myself in a month, so in a 30-day period, and then adding X amount of revenue year over year to my bank account. Number 8, visit a new country. I like this one a lot. Obviously, travel is fun. It costs money, but I do think it is important to experience the world. The most eye-opening thing for me of 2025 was probably when I went to Colombia. That was the first time I left North America. That was the first time I went to South America. Now, I went to 3 countries last year, but this one was the most breathtaking one. I went to a part of Colombia that tourists do not go. I went to Santa Marta. I made a video on it. If you want to see it, it's on my channel. But to see other cultures and to see how other people live compared to Americans was like literally jaw-dropping to me. You don't realize how much America really has until you go and live in another country like this for an extended amount of time. I went for 4 days, which is not a lot at all. But it was enough for me to say like, wow, Americans really are so spoiled. We have so much more than we appreciate. I think it was Dwayne Wade who said, spend your money on experiences, not on material purchases. which I think is really interesting. So I think visiting a new country would be cool. So last year I went to Colombia, I went to Spain, and I went to the Grand Cayman. So this year I would like to visit a new country. We'll see what that is. I don't really have any ideas in mind right now, but it's something I would definitely like to do, to experience more of the world. It's just more life experience, which I feel like, especially in your 20s, is cool. All right, number 9, build a better relationship with God. With this, church, which I mean mass, 1 time minimum per week. So I went to Catholic middle school for a year. I went to Catholic high school. I was baptized, confirmed, made my communion, all of that. And I've been very streaky with my religion. I was born Catholic, I was raised Catholic, I still consider myself a Catholic, but actually being a practicing Catholic, I've definitely lacked with. I've always had faith, I'm a faithful person. I've been so streaky. There's points where I went to mass every single week for months, and then there's points where I don't go to mass for the same months on end. So I would just like to have a better connection, a better relationship with God. You know, there was a point in time where I was praying every night for years, and then I just fell out of that, and I haven't even gotten back into it. So I would like to build that relationship back, build a better connection, and going to mass once a week and actually sitting there and trying to learn something instead of just sitting there to be there and letting my mind wander. So actually being there to learn and getting something out of it, I think, is important. No matter what religion you are, I do think faith and having spirituality is important. I just think there has to be something bigger in this world, no matter what it is, no matter who it is. I think that there just has to be something personally. So for me, building a better relationship with God is a great way to build my faith, to enhance my spirituality, and to honestly just overall help me be a better person. So build a better relationship with God, and church/mass 1 time per week minimum. All right, and number 10, build a better relationship with mom. With that, talk weekly. A lot of people probably don't know. There's a lot of people that know me that I don't think know either. It's just not really something that gets brought up. But my mom did pass away when I was 9 years old. Unfortunate situation, but it is what it is. And honestly, the most horrible thing to happen to me in my life. But there's so many positive things that came out of that. Like, I was forced to grow up at a young age, learn to take care of myself at a young age, become like pretty independent at a young age, which I think long term is important. I think I have good traits that come from it, but build a better relationship with mom, talk weekly. I do think this ties in with my last one of building a better relationship with God, being a person of faith, having spirituality. I'm a big believer that, again, there's more meaning to this world than just like physicalness. There just has to be. I think there is a spiritual meaning to the world. And just because somebody isn't here with us physically doesn't mean you can't have a connection with them spiritually. So, might not be words that fall into my ears, but spirits, I think, can send messages to us or signs to us. So building a better relationship with my mom, talking weekly, I think a lot of people can resonate with this. I'm not saying it for sympathy. I'm saying it because I know there's people out there that struggle with something like this, one that they love or a loved one has passed away, and that connection just totally falls through. And I do not think that needs to be the end all be all. I do think that you can have a spiritual connection. I need to do a better job at actively practicing it. So it's one of my goals for this year. Obviously, this one means a lot to me. I debated sharing it or not, but I think people can relate. So that's why I'm sharing it. Again, not doing it for sympathy. I'm doing it for the people out there that might also struggle with something like this, and maybe them building a connection spiritually again is something that's going to help them. So that's why I'm saying it. But number 10, build a better relationship with my mom, talk weekly. This is an important one. This one obviously hits home. So that's why I added it to the list. So these are all my goals for 2026. I'm going to hang this on a whiteboard right next to my bed so that when I get out of bed in the morning, it is the first thing I'm looking at. Just a constant reminder. If you notice, all of my goals are measurable. That's very important. So for example, my goal of reading 15 books, instead of just saying reading more, I actually have a number on it. The reason this is because it's way more obtainable when you make it measurable, because you're actually able to tell yourself whether you're reaching it or not. If you just have the goal, read more, I could negotiate with myself all day. I don't know if anyone else's minds work like this. That is how my mind works. If I don't have a number or a deadline on a task, my mind will start self-negotiating to make it convenient to just like kind of do the bare minimum, to be honest. So making them measurable is very important, and it also helps me plan. I think it makes it more obtainable because of that. So all of these goals, I'm gonna break down by quarter of the year. So again, 15 books. If I read 4 books every quarter, I'm gonna hit 16 books. That's gonna help me read my goal of 15 books this year. So instead of thinking it as 15 books for the year, I think of it as 4 books every quarter. And then you can break it down even more. That is a book and a third every month. So that is exactly the course of action I take to plan to reach these goals. So I take a big goal, I break it down, and then I worry about obtaining those smaller goals. And I know if I can obtain the smaller goals, they're gonna add up to reach the big goal. So making them measurable is a great way of making them more obtainable, because you know whether you're on pace to reach them or not. And you can plan to put yourself on pace by doing what I just did, taking it and breaking it down. So the goals for this year, that is it. To the next YouTube video, I'll be posting 1 a week. If you guys have ideas of stuff that you want to see, let me know. Otherwise, I'll do some planning on my own, like I said, and I will upload once a week from here on out. Let's do it.